In the last couple days, we've gotten a crazy amount of official MCU news, leaks, and rumors for upcoming projects such as Spider-Man 4, Avengers Doomsday, The Fantastic Four First Steps, and more, so let's get into all the best of it. Let's start with some of the more disappointing news, which revolves around the script of Spider-Man 4, and more so a script that was around for this film that actually ended up getting scrapped because it kind of sounded perfect. If you remember a few months ago, Tom Holland in an interview was talking about how him and Zendaya sat down and read the first script for Spider-Man together, and at times they were bouncing around the living room. It was like, this is a real movie worthy of the fans' respect, and he did go on to say that it needs a few improvements and a few things to work on, but the writers were doing great. We've had a lot of reports in the last month saying that, hey, this script no longer exists, the one that Tom Holland absolutely loved. The studios are interfering a lot more and trying to get different things in. Marvel Studios want one thing and Sony wants one thing, but now with Daniel RPK, he just revealed what was in that first script. First of all, we had Scorpion as the first villain of the movie. Now, there was a second villain that was going to be in this movie too, but first let's just talk about Scorpion, because I really think this would have been perfect, and I really hope they find a way to put him into whatever new script they're working on, because we really had him set up in the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Homecoming and never saw him again. Like, they cast an amazing actor as him, and I feel like it really just went to waste, and honestly, he would have been a perfect, like, smaller scale, street-level villain. He could have been, like, the main villain of the movie, but maybe he was working for Kingpin or something. That could have been the big reveal, and hopefully they, like I said, will circle back and do this actually. But the second villain that was actually going to be included in the movie was Shocker, who we saw an early version of who would go on to become the full-on Shocker in Spider-Man Homecoming again. So it seemed like Spider-Man 4 was originally set to kind of be like a spiritual successor to Spider-Man Homecoming. Obviously, this would have worked even better as like the second Spider-Man movie following up right after Homecoming, but I still really wish they used this script. And like I said, who knows, maybe they could go back to these villains instead of doing some multiversal thing. But it kind of seems like that's dead and gone, because like I covered a couple weeks ago, Anya Taylor-Joy is reportedly being eyed for a role in Spider-Man 4. A lot of people think she will be Black Cat, so I think it's likely she'll be like the secondary antagonist of this film instead of Shocker, and we'll get a new main villain. But we did have some better and more official news from Aban Moss-Baccarat, who, if you didn't know, he is playing the Thing, and this is literally from a Jimmy Kimmel Live interview, so this is 1000% confirmed. He gave us some information on the Fantastic Four First Steps. He said that he did slip in the iconic "It's Clobbering Time" a few times into his recording, but he doesn't know if they'll keep it in editing or not. And he also came out and said that Andy Serkis helped him with the motion capture for the Thing in the Fantastic Four First Steps, and that he was very generous in the process. If you don't know, he's like the mocap guy in Hollywood. He was also just recently the voice of Noel, but he's most famous for his mocap work as Caesar the Ape in the Planet of the Apes trilogy, or you probably know him as Gollum from The Lord of the Rings. He's just had such a cool career arc. Now he's directing things like Venom: The Last Dance and the new live-action Lord of the Rings Hunt for Gollum movie coming out in a couple years, and the fact that he's just being able to like work with all these actors, help them with mocap, is really giving me faith in the process for Fantastic Four First Steps. This news kind of came out of nowhere. It's from the Insider, another reputable leaker, but again, as with all rumors, you have to take this one with a grain of salt. But apparently Marvel Studios is rumored to be planning on recasting T'Challa for Black Panther 3, which kind of is crazy. In his leak, he's reporting that they actually offered the role to an actor last year and they turned it down, but I really don't know what they're cooking, because we know Ryan Coogler is coming back for Black Panther 3, but he dedicated Black Panther 2 to the death of T'Challa and Chadwick Boseman and moved on the Black Panther role to Shuri in the MCU. And yeah, we did see his son in the post-credit scene, but like there's no way he's going to be aged up enough to become the new Black Panther. It just seems like the wrong thing to do after you had the death of T'Challa in the MCU. If you were going to recast him, you should have done it right away, and you decided not to. Now I feel like you got to stick with that, but let me know, this is kind of controversial. What do you think they should do with Black Panther in the future of the MCU? And while I'm on the topic of Black Panther, we did have confirmation that Denzel Washington is going to play a character, possibly a villain, in this movie. He confirmed it in an interview because he doesn't know the Marvel process, that everything's a secret. He just dropped it like, oh yeah, Coogler called me up and he said he wanted to work on this role, and I took it. And then he's like, oh, sorry guys, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to say that. And as promised, there are a few reported leaks for Avengers Doomsday and the process this movie is going through. So let's get into the first one, which is that the writing is still happening on the script of Avengers Doomsday, even though the film is supposed to release in just a little over a year. Apparently they have a hard deadline of March, and then the film is going to start filming. I'm not going to try to like cause panic or anything, because they could be really close to finishing, and they know they have until March until filming starts, so they're just really finishing up things. There is another possibility though that they are just being rushed and this film is just being fast-tracked to get a big MCU hit out there as fast as possible. But even then, I kind of feel for Marvel. I don't want to be the big defender of like a big studio, but when you're working with this many A-list huge actors and you get them all locked down for a certain filming date, I kind of understand why you need a script to be done by a certain time, and you can't just take like years and years like Matt Reeves with the Batman Part 2, who's just taking his sweet time to write that script. Like RDJ, Chris Evans, everybody that's in the Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, the new Avengers are all going to be in this. You need a script and you need a firm deadline. So it's a little worrying if this is being fast-tracked, but I do hope this is just kind of a being blown out of proportion on Twitter and it's actually kind of normal. And on the good side of things, Ana de Armas is rumored to be in a role in this movie. I have no idea who she could be playing. Let me know your best guesses in the comments below and hit that like and follow button. I appreciate if you click above my head to check out an update on the Robert Pattinson's The Batman Part 2 potentially joining the DCU above my head right now.